Hello, good morning, and welcome to Tenerife again. Another nice day. I know I say it every day, but that's why we're here. I went this morning, I got up and decided to do a slightly different morning routine today. So I went down to the beach and had a little swim in the sea. So I'm feeling nice and refreshed and ready for this session today. It's session 2 of module 7, and we're going to be digging a little bit deeper into the way that we've been manipulated by the food companies, and not just the food companies, but also by the government, by school, by our culture. I mean, everybody seems to be involved in this conspiracy to make us overweight. I think it's important that to understand exactly why we are becoming overweight as a society and why obesity is so prevalent. I think the better we understand the causes behind why, the more easier it is for us to lose weight, and the more sense it will make later when we dig a little bit further down into this module. Some of the things that we look at and explain will make a lot more sense set against the background of knowing exactly what's going on. So we think that we're people of free will, and that we're in charge of our actions, and that we make choices independently. The truth is that we're manipulated. Humans are incredibly easy to manipulate. Even when we're aware that the manipulation is going on, it's still so difficult to resist that manipulation. I mean, you only have to look at our phones now. Everybody staring at a screen. Facebook and these social media companies have managed to get us completely addicted, that our attention is focused on always scrolling down to the next. And I think most of us completely understand that we are being manipulated, and yet we still do it. I find myself doing it. I catch myself, and I am making some conscious efforts to stop the scrolling, and I've started doing things now where I actually make a conscious effort to leave the phone, to not take it with me in certain cases, because if I've not got it with me, I can't scroll. But yeah, manipulation is the same with food. We've also been told what we should be eating, or we've grown up in cultures, certainly in the West, where meat and dairy are everywhere. And if we just step back a moment, it's quite easy to understand that the foods that we enjoy the most are usually the foods that are causing the most damage as far as gaining weight is concerned. One of the most surprising findings for me has been to discover the truth about milk. Milk was the staple of our household. As a kid, breakfast at home was always cornflakes with milk and sugar sprinkled on top. And back in the 1970s, milk almost had a kind of a sacred standing. That milk was considered to be one of the healthiest foods we could have. At school, we used to go to school, and in the morning at around 10:30, I can't remember the exact time, but the whole proceedings used to stop, and we used to all the children would go into the dining area, and we would all be given a little bottle of milk to drink, because it was considered so healthy. But the truth is that milk actually is far less healthy than we are led to believe. First of all, cow's milk, which is obviously what we all grew up drinking, is actually designed, and brace yourself for this news, cow's milk is actually designed for a baby cow. It's designed for a calf. It's not actually made with human consumption in mind. as a species, we are only actually supposed, our bodies, our design, our being, we're only supposed to drink milk as babies, and after that into adulthood, we naturally speaking, we wouldn't drink milk. And yet many of us drink milk every day, all our lives. I know my mum, her fridge is full of milk and she still drinks lots of it. So what's the problem? Well, interestingly, 65% of the world's population is lactose intolerant. That means that our bodies actually reject the milk usually in a quite mild way. I didn't actually realize until 5 years ago actually that I was also lactose intolerant. When I used to drink milk or eat dairy products, I would often get stomach ache, and the pain was being caused by milk and dairy. It wasn't only stomach ache that I was getting. Also, my stomach I used to get bloated. My whole abdomen area was full of air, and it made me feel really uncomfortable. And I never really put two and two together. I never made the connection between milk and dairy and this bloating feeling, this obvious intolerance that I had to it. And when I think that I've been drinking milk for almost 50 years until I made the connection, to be honest, I don't know what I was thinking about, and I really now don't know why I thought more about it when I was younger. But I guess I used to think, well, it's just something that's happening to me. For whatever reason, maybe it's something to do with the way I eat, but I never made the connection. Many of us are lactose intolerant. We're not supposed to be drinking cow's milk. On top of that, they always told us, didn't they, that milk would make us strong. They would give us strong bones. But it turns out there's actually a strong link between osteoporosis, that's the brittle bone disease. So it's where our bones become more and more brittle, usually as we get older. There's a strong link between osteoporosis and drinking milk. Who would have thought it? The very liquid that we are being sold as being such a elixir, such a powerful food that would make our bones strong, is actually the very liquid that is making our bones fragile. In the countries with the highest milk consumption are also the countries with the highest osteoporosis levels. So it just goes to show. And why am I saying this? I mean, it's because the milk is just one example of the misleading information that we've been given by our culture, by our parents, by our schools, by the government, by everybody, obviously by the food companies. And so when we make our decisions in the supermarkets, when we go in there and we're choosing our products, or we don't really understand the manipulation that's in place. We think we're making free choices, but actually we're not, because we're completely ignorant most of the time. I know I certainly was very ignorant. So there's something else as well. There are when it comes to why we're all getting so fat, there are two main causes, or the two real problematic things are sugar and fat. And if you think about in nature, where do you find fats in nature? So you find them in avocados, you find them in nuts, and there are some fats in seeds and so on. And obviously in meat. And but we very rarely find fat in combination with sugar. If you think about sugary foods, natural sugary foods would be fruits. So, but fruits are not fatty. So this combination in nature is actually very rare. Combination of fat and sugar is something that nature doesn't really offer, apart from, interestingly enough, breast milk. So human breast milk and all milk also has this combination of fat and sugar. So maybe that's why we've got such a taste for it, because this combination of fat and sugar is the thing that's really making us not only addicted to food, but also making sure and ensuring that we put on the pounds. So the 10 most addictive foods on the planet are as follows. And I just need to pop my glasses on to read these. So these are the 10 most addictive foods. So here we go. Pizza, chocolate, crisps, biscuits, ice cream, chips, cheeseburgers, fizzy drinks, cake, and cheese. So all of those foods on that list are processed foods except from cheese, which is also a very fatty food and contains saturated fat. So all of these foods, the most addictive foods on the planet, are processed foods. In other words, these are foods that have been manufactured by food companies to make us keep coming back for more and more and more. And several of those products on the list, such as the cheeseburger or the ice cream, these products have this absolutely perfect combination of sugar and fat. I personally love cheesecake. It's not on the list, but it's, for me, it's one of those, it's absolutely perfect as far as the taste, the texture, the deliciousness of it. And again, cheesecake is the same. It's a perfect balance between sugar and fat. Unfortunately, this perfect balance is also the same thing that's causing us as a society to put on so much weight. So when I say it's not your fault or we've been manipulated, I mean, it's clear if food companies have been spending millions and perhaps even billions on designing these products with one intention of making us completely addicted to it, is it really any wonder that we put on so much weight? And so when we walk into the shops and we think we're making choices based on our free will, of course we're not. We've been manipulated by the advertising, we've been manipulated by the food companies, and we've been hacked. Our lizard brains have been hacked. They know what they're doing. They're designing these products to make us keep coming back for more. They even put caffeine in products such as Coca-Cola, not because it makes any difference to the taste, simply because they want us to come back and consume more of these sugary, fatty products. So we've been manipulated, or we are manipulated, and our brains have been hacked just in the same way as Facebook is doing it to our attention. So our responsibility is to now use this knowledge of this manipulation that's been going on, and to start to realize that we can make a change. And in further sessions in this module, we're going to go into some more interesting things about what we can do, and we're going to find out how we can reprogram ourselves so that we are no longer victims of this evil manipulation from these food companies. So I've enjoyed this little talk this morning. I hope you've enjoyed it too. And tomorrow's session, I can't remember actually what I've written down, what we're going to talk about tomorrow, but I'm sure it'll be exciting, and you can see it below in the link anyway. So thanks for being here today, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, and have a nice day. Bye bye.